Yeet, yeet, yeet. What's up, everybody? And welcome to today Money Talks. Okay. First of all, we're actually doing some testing today, which I'm super excited for because I'm actually seeing that the live testing is actually working. But while we're in here for the live testing, there's a few things that I wanted to just bring up for this new jump we're doing in 2024. $1 million assets raised. Overall, what we're trying to do in the real estate space is really, really important. And I wanted to come see how these lives worked across the YouTube channel because me and Colin are going to be in here killing it, aka Marketing with Dom, aka the bank Colin, Mr. Cashflow himself. And as we continuously go through this process of growing and making more money online in different ways, it's like we're here to talk about how we make money online with also what we do with the real estate, like the paper version of making these deals online, getting these wholesale deals from certain people, connecting buyers, right? Like Colin's a professional networker on that side when it comes to learning how to make money anywhere from anybody, right? Like being able to give him a deal and then him be able to find the people who are actually going to relate with the deal is what's more important. But this is a test. I'm super excited to be able to pop on this test. 1 minute. Can you talk so I can do the replay? So introduce yourself, Colin, to my YouTube money makers.
How's it going, guys? My name's Colin Martin. Calling the bank, right? And at the end of the day, the biggest thing is trying to get to, being able to operate like a bank, right? Flipping paper, making the way that the banking world already work for you. There's a lot of different things that we can go ahead and do. And, we talk about a lot of different things from development deals to investing in mortgage notes, wholesale deals. There's money everywhere. And that's why we decided to get on here and start this channel, Money Talks, right? And just keep it going over and over again and just have consistent content that we're talking about just while we're working. I'm still working right here. It's not like just, I guess, a typical podcast where we're just looking at the camera and, just look at us talk. Let's make a stage. No, we're just going to be real and work like we do and bring you some value if we can.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest things that we'll be talking about is one, how to make money in the real estate, and then one, how to build a personal brand that sticks, right? You guys are actually here in the process of while we're building personal brands, and I've already built one in one niche, and then I scrapped that whole thing. So I'm absolutely starting from zero. So if you know me from Marketing with Dom, I've been in other industries, and this niche, I stepped into it because some of my top clients started getting rich. And I'm like, I'm helping these guys get rich. And, how can I step more into their space so I can actually get money? The first thing I would tell you guys is the business of money doesn't take a certain education. You don't need to have education, financing. You don't have none of that. The money business is its own business, and that's learned from hard knocks. It's not taught in school like that. Even financial advisors that we work with and stuff like that barely understand how to actually make money sometimes. So one thing we're learning is that we're in the money business, right? And in the money business, you got to learn about money, and there's no real education in there, but straight hard education. Okay. There's no real education, but hard education when it comes down to the money business. So that's what we're mostly excited about, which is like being able to give you guys that information. Now, the one thing I'll tell you about getting in any industry and be able to make money in the personal brand space is that you being trustworthy or having the type of things out there that people know you and refer to you as is what creates that kind of brand for yourself, right? We're sitting here right now having a discussion. As like we said, the podcast is like real-time work for us. We're doing the podcast as we're in the midst of doing what we're doing during, our normal days of work. And you see how even right now, right, we're sitting here talking about personal branding. I call him the bank Colin, and he says, I'm calling the bank, right? So those are just separate differences as calling the bank, right? And I understood what he meant by that. And then I really was like, okay, now I understand. So for anybody who's watching this process, right, that's the process in which we're going through. That's something right there, right? Instead of me introducing him as like, hey, it's the bank Colin, we're like, it's calling the bank. Right. If you need money to find money, where's money at for a deal? If it's a good deal, you'll be able to come find it through us. And that's really what you got to understand as you guys are going through these videos with us. It's just like real time. It's like real time. Every day Colin calls me. It's like, yo, I got wholesale deals. Where the wholesalers at? Get your marketing up. Let's make some wholesale deals for some wholesalers that are out there. And that's the power of the everyday, the everyday system. So if you guys are out there, you're like, oh, look for some wholesale deals. We got you.
Yeah, at the end of the day, profits are better than wages, right? A lot can happen in a short amount of time. Just keep grinding, keep going. Don't quit, right? It's If it was easy, everybody would do it. At the end of the day, we all go through our lumps. You all get hit. We all get hit in the face once every now and then. Take it, take it on the chin, and keep moving.
Facts. Yeah, for me, I'm like at this point in time, I'm realizing that it's the all-in position. Like anything I want, I'm just not even looking for easy anymore. I'm like, is that the hard way? Let's just take it. Because at this point in time, it's really like, even us right now, right? This is the hard route. The hard route is to not plan it all out, to make it all happen and be very secure in the execution and then feel like you're going to execute. But by then you could have had so many things out that the world taught you by then that it's just like really like, what's better than life lessons, and that's really what I'm realizing. It's like, what's better than actual life lessons in the midst of doing it? How are me and Colin going to talk shit to people in the next 12 months and tell people like, hey, you got to start creating content? That's where the money's at, actually telling people where you're at. If me and my man is not creating major content, right? For that impact of a year is amazing for anybody who's out there building their personal brand. Right now, me and Colin, eventually by the end of the year, any questions someone asks about us or the industry or what we're doing, we'll be able to refer them to watch one of our videos if we don't have the time to really explain it. Or if they really want to know more about it, like, okay, here you go, just go to the YouTube channel or watch these videos and really just break down and explain what's going on and what we're doing.
At the end of the day, Dom's been pushing me to get it, just jump in front of the camera, right? And I've always been, like I said on our last session, a little bit more of a low-key person. I like to kind of stay behind the scenes, but it's like when I have my conversations, my appointments throughout the day, each and every day, that so many people just say like, man, like you gave me so much value, and a lot of times I think us ourselves, we don't think we have that much value to give, right? Facts. Or you doubt it or whatever the case may be, but just share it, right? Get out there.
Facts.
It's like that same mentality of, you don't know how far a smile goes to somebody. You don't know if it's the worst day that they've been going through in a long time, right? Something small, right? Just share it, speak, and that's how you develop. Just getting uncomfortable, doing something that you're not used to doing, and just doing it over and over again. You're gonna get better. You're gonna get better over time. My dog is wanting to get in and out of the room. Finally shut the door. Now she's at the door. Like, let me out. I don't like boxes. Just like I don't like boxes. I don't like to be put in a box either, so I like to be able to move freely. And look at that. I just spun that to a life lesson.
That is a life lesson. That is for sure a life lesson, because when you really think about even creating content, right? Okay, so I work with probably 40 or 50 real estate note investors in the process and teaching them how to build personal brands and stuff like that as I'm talking about it, right? Out of all the 40 people I work with, Colin being one of them, four of the 40 decided to start putting out content and really doing it. 3 of the 40 have already raised capital. 3 of the 4 people, right, three out of the 4 people who actually did the content on social media, who decided, hey, I'm going to tell people about this, they each have raised capital just by putting out content. And all the other 36 people who are trying to figure it out or what it's going to take to make this money, they haven't got a single investor. Because if you're not confident enough to come talk to people about it, even online, when, I'm going to get all the judgment, or people are going to respond or they're not going to respond, or what they're going to talk to, people go like, this is nothing. You haven't been about any of this kind of real estate money stuff. So even though I have 12,000 followers, my followers are going down on my YouTube channel per day. But what I realized in that process is it's absolutely okay, because I may have needed 100,000 subscribers in the industry that I was in before to possibly make money. But all I need is about 400 good subscribers in the money business to really start making really good money together with people. You don't need a huge crowd of people depending on what you're selling, right? Like, we sell deals that make $10, $20, $30, $40,000 in a deal. But imagine how hard I'd have to go on YouTube if every deal that I sold only made me $98.
How valuable is your time worth at the end of the day?
That's a fact. How valuable is your time worth? And that's the major deed of like what we're trying to become a part of, or what we're trying to do is like, what is the major value? right? What is this we're about to give back to the people? Because if we don't keep giving back, if we don't keep transitioning into trying to change people's lives, we will be stuck here looking at this. What you realize that people are who are just absolutely money hungry. They're just like, oh, we're hungry for money, right? And they forget about the transaction of helping other people. For me and Colin, the one thing I know we have in common is like, we'll take less to stay longer. Which is like, okay, cool, I could give you this deal, but it may not fit with you to make the next deal with me. But if I want you to make the next 10 deals with me every single year I have a deal, I want to make sure that you have enough money to make the next deal with me. And, a lot of times people don't really see that sometimes when they're trying to make deals. They're trying to squeeze every single dollar they can out of every deal, which ends up squeezing investors out of deals, end up squeezing the person who's investing with you out of a deal big enough for them to reinvest, right? A deal big enough for them to come back, right? You may have made that money, but the art of the long-term deal is really what me and Colin are starting to focus on, which is like, if you don't know this, in the real estate industry, you could buy a home and you'll have to pay on the home. But if you buy a note, you can get paid from that same real estate for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road. And that's really where the power comes in, which is like the longevity. So we're continuously going down that process.
Sure.
And we wanted to come in, test this little live out for you guys. It's just called Marketing with Dom live stream. So this definitely won't be, I'm pretty sure this will be uploaded online. We'll be redropping it rather than just a stream, which is amazing. I just realized that.
Yeah.
Me and you can stream, then drop the stream, like not even drop the stream, take the edit, and then send it back out as a video. So it's like both times we're doing it, we're able to engage whatever platform we're doing it. So that means Facebook as well. I'll be able to jump in the live stream on Facebook, and we can live stream on both platforms. And then when the videos are done, we take the videos down and we take the raw videos and we put them back up as a restarted video. So it's like, if we're able to engage with people.
This is all new to me. I'm a phone.
Yeah, I know.
I jump on the phone, so I let Marketing with Dom handle all that. Like, I know what I'm good at. I know my lane.
That's the power. That's the power. It's like I'm teaching you what I'm doing so that we are also understanding of what the process is. So Colin's on the phone talking to somebody like, oh, how do you market? You're like, oh, we live stream from Riverside into Facebook and YouTube. Like that's what we do.
Usually just say,
I don't need to know how to do it.
I don't know. I jump on a call and we go.
I jump on a call with the marketing guy, my team, he's developing. And as he's teaching me more about real estate, he's going to learn more about marketing. Because in his instinct, he has deals that I am not part of, situations that I am not part of. So the more he learns how to put himself out there, even when I'm not a part of it, he becomes its own personal assassin. And that's where these podcasts that we're going to do are really coming into. Is like he's learning, I'm learning. I'm going to be asking him questions about the real estate industry. How does it work here? How does the money work here? How do we get an investor to do this, to be able to do that? He'll be able to express that to me. And now if he's like, yo, how do I do this or how do I do that? I'm like, okay, well, this is what we got to do. This is how you're going to be able to do that. And both of those positions are also educational for anybody who's in between real estate and marketing. It's like, let's collaborate the two.
At the end of the day, it's all about education, right? We were just talking about something, we started a meetup and somebody was like, oh yeah, everybody knows what notes are. That's just a hard money loan, right? And that is showing right there that not everybody knows, right? A note is literally every single loan out there, whether it's on your car, anything that's secured by something is a note, right? A hard money loan is a note, right? But when we're talking about investing into mortgage notes, it's a different ballgame. We are just on the secondary market of the back end, right? I've been a loan originator for years, right? And we usually write a note, right? I talk to lenders and they don't know what notes are, but that's what they do for a living. They sell notes. We're just used to getting a commission on the front end for originating that note. But what about any lenders out there, right? You guys just go and find the money to the direct lender, a hedge fund or a bigger bank that has the money, right? But what if you could just do that same thing and keep a continuous piece that's paying you out passively, right? At the end of the day, my biggest commission I've ever had was over 6 figures, right? And it was amazing. But I had to do it again and again and go close another deal, But what if every time you closed the deal, you got paid every month for the next 20 years? I'm analytical. I was just like, man, $500 a month, one deal a month, in 1 year, you can build up $6,000 of passive income doing the same thing you're already doing, right? So it's just learning how to operate like banks. Banks don't flip houses, they flip paper. Right, and that's why we're calling the bank, right? Because learn how to be a bank. Don't learn how to just break your back. So that's kind of the premise
Facts.
of everything. But there's deals
You
everywhere.
know, and here's one thing I want to say, as you guys get to know me and Colin more about it, which is like we make comments about 9 to 5s and breaking your backs, but honestly, like we come from families who broke their backs and did the work. And honestly, if you love
Still
what you
are.
do and you're part of it, it's
My
amazing. But
dad's
you
still
also
outside at
realize,
my dad's still outside at 70 right now. Because he's trying to get shit
hey,
done. But
gotta get shit done. And the power of that is for you guys to understand is that it's not that what you do is bad or not bad. It's that what you do for some of the companies you work for and stuff like that, they're not putting you in position for your future. They're just not. So that's the sad part. It's like, I'm never going to talk shit about a 9 to 5, but I don't know many 9 to 5s that really help you retire over time. I just don't. I have my grandparents I've watched. I've had my parents I've watched. And it's just like they spent all this time and energy and they're getting their social security and stuff like that. But they're getting social security, but the prices are going like this. You know what I mean? It's like,
I mean, my parents' Social Security together, I believe, is like 2,300. All right. My dad was.
fuck you.
I live in San Diego, so I mean,
I
you
mean,
get Social Security, you still have to go get another job to be able to survive.
and that is what you do see in San Diego. You do see a lot of older
Well, you
people
see it
working
everywhere.
around in the area.
You see it everywhere,
True.
right? People don't only move away from San Diego or don't want to be here because it's expensive. But
Exactly.
like after working your whole life, you should be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
That's true. You do see it everywhere, but certain cities you don't see it in. Like when I was in North Dakota, you know what they were doing? You know what they were doing? You know what they were doing? They were buying. They made so much money on that side. They were buying houses in Arizona for the winter because. Because it is cost of living, right? If you are living somewhere, anywhere that, costs you a certain amount of money, in North Dakota, the prices are lower, right? But the conditions, the weather, the weather is drastic, dude. So what they are able to do, because their prices are so low, is they make money, save up, and then they eventually invest in real estate to move them into Arizona. And because their overall costs are so low, they do survive differently. But that means they also didn't live the last 20 years of their life having a great time in a city like San Diego or a city like San Francisco or Miami or New York or even a small town not too far from bigger cities you can just drive into. All of North Dakota is crazy for me. Mm-hmm. That and South Dakota. Shit, way too cold. And guess what? You do pay because it's cold. That's how I feel. You pay less, I think. For the cold states I've been in, except for New York, I guess.
You pay in the physical. You pay in the physical.
Bearing the weather, man. Because honestly, that's the hard part. Bearing the weather, man.
Whether it's in this real estate space, right? The interesting thing is, there's so many different ways to make a buck, right? And when you try to decide what you want to do, it's really like, how hard do you want to work? I had a mentor of mine kind of say it like this. Everybody looks at it like, your ideal dream, ideal, what do you want? And then people always look at like, okay, the amount of effort it's going to take, right? And then a reasonable time frame, and is it even possible to achieve? All right. And there's so many more negative thoughts that go into your mind and why it can't happen as opposed to what if it can? Like that what if it does versus what if it doesn't. You don't really hear that what if it does most times. Right? It's always more on the negative side. What if it doesn't work? What if I can't do this? Blah, blah. Yeah, what if you die tomorrow? Like all these what ifs, go after what you want. Have some fun while you do it. Have a quality of life that makes you happy. Being successful is different to everybody. Everybody has a different idea of what being successful is. And everybody's correct. So
that's right, because success is really coming to you, right? Like success to me and success to Colin are slightly different, right? I can make probably half of what Colin makes, and my success will be the same, only because of the city I live in.
Well, I think it goes down to happiness, right?
That's
like
true.
If you're happy,
that's true.
If you can provide for yours, and you can be able to,
that's what I'm saying. Just for you to provide, it's going to cost you twice as much. San Diego's so expensive to provide. Like my one bedroom here is, which is pretty spacious, is a one bedroom, and it's like $1,100, right? But when I
Yeah,
was
we
in
have
San Diego and I had
we
my
have
one
studios for
bedroom,
$3,000.
bro,
Like, it's crazy.
bro, trying to get by a beach, trying to buy a beach, because that's me. If I'm I need either space or a beach. So I'll subsequent a lot of space to be not too far from a beach, right? But if I don't have a beach, I have to extend it with space inside my home. Because it's like, if I don't want to go outside, I need internal space. But if outside's beautiful, I'm about to be outside all day long. That's how I feel about it. Which is like, that's a blessing. I'll pay for it. The beach is way better than more space internally in the house. And I'll exchange that for a cost any day of the week, because there's nothing like being in the San Diego beach, right? And now it's like,
Yeah, of course.
I'm jealous. I think about it now. I'm just thinking about the beach and my longboard. But then I also want to just watch all those videos I just saw about the fact that, the whole beach is underwater. Also puts in perspective.
Yeah. When we talk about jobs, like, it's not that job. There's nothing wrong with a job, right? It's a means to an end at the end of the day, because we have to survive, right? If you didn't have to work for somebody else and you could survive and know that your family was taken care of, you would
probably
do it all.
would.
You would do it all day. I mean, if we didn't have like this, when it was goods and services, right? Like, you could live life on your terms, but now it's all capitalistic, and we have to. People say money's not everything. I mean, it's right up there with oxygen. So
they made money exchanged for everything you need. And that's how I think about it. It's like, no, money's not everything. We just have to exchange it for the things we want. And it's just like, that's really the reality. You want the best things, got to exchange it for capital. Yeah, money's not everything, but the things I got to get with it, you know what I mean? I need shelter, money, yeah. Need it, water, pay for it.
In the last job I had, I live in San Diego. It's beautiful, right? I love to be by the beach too. Get some fresh air. Yeah. Last job I used to work at, I was an independent contractor, but I'm sitting there in an office overlooking Torrey Pines State Beach in Del Mar, and it's like right there. I can see it. I just can't. Like, I can't even feel the ocean breeze. Like.
Wait, but that's a lunch break away.
Trust me, I hit that lunch break every day and went down to the beach. But being able to work where you want to work, where you can just like go take a trip, and this is my business. It goes where I go. Go ahead, you can scan that. Get my business card.
Facts.
But
$1 million made, man. So my question, the last 2 years, right? Just to throw it out there, not to be too personal, but I know you were in a bunch of high-end sales positions in the real estate space, and I remember being with you, watching you make, your own 6-figure check by itself. So, in the last 3 years of getting into sales and be able to make money, let's not even talk about you. But I know that you were able to train other people in some of the systems that you're in. So, like, in the grand scheme of things, over that 2 years, how much money did the team that was trained under you be able to make during that process? I mean, make an estimate, even lowball it, because I know if you did,
it fluctuated between there was the higher earners and the lower earners, put in based on effort and whatnot. But I had 4 people underneath me all bringing a 6-figure check, on one deal. Right.
That's powerful.
And it was like that competition level where they say you get it. They're like, oh, I could do that. He's not that much better than me. Like, that's the thing I love about sales. It brings that friendly competition in, right? Some people might not be friendly about it, but at the end of the day, there's dollars out there to be grabbed. Right. The real estate out there in what you do. Not just in the real estate game. There's real estate in every space. Right. Dom's wanting to grab as much real estate in that marketing space. Right.
Facts.
It's just owning real estate in a psychological sense.
Right. It's like one's a physical home, mine's like attention. So it's like it's different, but it is real estate. Because if you have great attention that plays on a YouTube channel, that to itself is its own position on that side. It's its own.
And I mean, we all work to get cash flow, right? To make money so that we can live and get out of that fucking rat race. Same rat race. It's like spin that 40-40-40 plan where you go to work for 40 hours a week for 40 years of your life and hope to retire on 40% of your income, but that shit's not real anymore. Good luck. I mean, our parents were, way back, but we're in the information age. Now, if you have real estate in the marketing space, and you just have people coming to you and it's funneling to you, and you don't have to leave, you don't have to go cold call, you don't have to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
There's opportunity, right? There's a movie that I remember. It's like, are you a consumer or are you a provider?
Facts. You just consume or do you provide?
Because at the end of the day, it's just like, credit cards, right? We're not taught how credit works in high school, and then all of a sudden you're 18, you get all these letters. And all of a sudden, you're like, and as an 18-year-old, I mean, I was a victim of it too. I was like, oh shit, I got some money. I could pay $25 a month, and then it, I paid
Then
that
it
25
slips,
bucks,
boy.
and it was not there. But most people use credit from a consumer standpoint, right?
Facts.
You hear Robert Kiyosaki talk. He's like, that's the only thing that's not taxed. I like it.
Facts.
He's like, I'm never being debt free. Why? Why?
Yeah, why would you be debt free if you're not getting taxed on it? It's like people have an
It's
assumption all the
tax
time
write
about
off.
like
You can write the tax off,
exactly.
the debt off. So utilize it. And
You can
so when
spend
you
it
use
and write it off.
use the debt to bring in a cash flow from it, it's a completely different debt. There's good debt and bad debt. Don't get me wrong, but
Mm,
you have to just educate yourself. And
facts.
always be a student. So many people, when they stop going to school, and school wasn't I didn't love school, but because I wasn't
I feel
interested.
you.
When you're interested in something, you pick it up like that, right? So
Yeah, that's true. And the one thing I realize about interest is sometimes you got to subside what you're doing to get to where you're going. Like, I'm not necessarily interested at first. I wasn't necessarily interested in mortgage notes, but I was very interested in passive income and not having to do crazy hard selling.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, do I not have to get on these wholesale deals and try to hard sell people all the time on their properties? Is that really my strategy? Is that my style? Right? And if I'm competing in that industry, is it really going to be for me? I'm like, it's really not my strategy. I'm actually getting a little bit more chill. I think last year, the years before that, I was a lot more pumped. I'm still pumped now, but I'm not as like, let's go, renegades. I think kids will show you need to reserve some energy. Kids will be like, nah, you can't just be going out in the world giving all the Dominique to everybody else and then come home and don't give me nothing. Okay. So kids are teaching me naturally how to reserve my energy as I'm coming through this process of learning what I really want. And I want to spend time with my kids, and I want to be with my wife, and I want to do adventures. I want to do events. And my work mentality before subject to take away all of those opportunities because I was a 24-hour kind of hustler. Even Colin's coming at me now. Mr. Call the Bank is coming at me every day. Like, where you at? Do you even like money? I'm like, I like money, but I like to figure out this balance situation. But I realize there's no balance. I got to tip the scale towards the work situation, and I got to be able to leverage the situation for my family. And yeah, there is a sacrifice, right? I already know that if I leverage too hard one way, I'm gonna have situations with my wife. Why? Because time needed, effort, and energy, and everything can't win at the same time. Some things have to suffer. And if you guys are out there trying to figure out what you're going to do and you're trying to figure out how to balance it, you're trying to get into your new business while you're working your full time, something has to suffer for the future. God suffered for our sins, and we got to suffer for our success. Right? You see people on the line where people are like, oh, manifested, it's all great. But most of the time, to gain something, you have to suffer to gain it. To gain strength, it fucking hurts. To gain knowledge, it takes a lot of interest. Yeah, some people are like, oh, I love reading. I love doing it. I love doing that. Great. Yeah, cool. They learn it. But they go through a process of becoming, they had to become a reader, right? They had to learn how to read. They're 2, 3 years old, 4 and 5, learning how to read, eventually started to learn how to comprehend, started to learn how to execute. But there's a difference between a reader who loves to read and a reader who executes. And it's harder to be a reader who executes, to not just know, but to have done. Right? That's what I had to learn in my business. Like, I read all these books. I could talk to people for hours about business, but then it was like, did I do it though? I may know the information. Is real intelligence knowing, or is real intelligence knowing and doing? Right? And that's what one of my mentors always taught me is like, intelligence isn't knowing. That means you just know. That doesn't make you intelligent because you know shit. What makes you intelligent is your ability to take what you know and put it into real time and show results. That's true intelligence. Right? And when you look at the most intelligent people in the world, they're not more popular than Elon Musk, because Elon Musk is an intelligent implementer. So that's really the difference I want to say to anybody out here. It's like, oh, you're intelligent. Yeah, you may know a bunch, but I can't stand talking to people who know a lot but can't figure out their lives. I fucking hate talking to those people. I'm one of them as I figure out my lives. So when somebody's trying to tell you what you should or should not be doing with such a passion, but ain't got shit figured out, it's hard for me to listen to you because you don't deem me intelligent. You deem me knowing, but that doesn't mean you know it works. It just means you know it exists and it worked for someone. And when you get things working for you, that's why I asked him the other question is not how much money he made, but how many money he made for others. Because the reality is his ability to give that and transition it into other people doing it is a lot more powerful. That seems more intelligence. then I made $1 million. Cool. I made 10 people 6 figures. Okay. That makes me more excited. Okay, well, let me slide in and get my 60, let me get my 6 figures underneath you. But for me to tell people like, oh, in the last 3 years, I made over $400,000. They're like, oh, that's great for you. But if I said, over the last 4 years, I've made 400K, but over the last 2 years, I made creators over $30 million. I had over 5,000 creators. It was my students in the 2 years that I did it. Had major creators I worked with personally. I personally worked with creators who did over $3 million. And that was only 6 creators. And then I had thousands of other creators who came through, who paid me through affiliates. And that's how I know which money they make, because I made 5% override from everything that they did. So it's like, in the understanding of what content creation is, I have a great understanding of what a content creator can do when they decide to put out content on social media when it comes to attracting their type of customer. That's my skill. And his skills is, once somebody gets on the phone, understanding the value of the system, how do I get them through the process of actually selling? So it's coming from the internet to coming to my man Colin in person. That is a transition of which we work our system. And now we work with companies like Invest Brilliantly and Evermain Capital, who helps us with deals, and we put deals to, because they're then the next level, right? They have the funds, they have the projects. So it's like Colin can get a deal, and if you can't sell the deal on our system, we're like, okay, we go right to one of the funds we're working with and be like, hey, you want to buy this? We're just talking earlier. He's like, I'm selling one of the, I don't have any deals on the table. The notes, the funds are already buying them. One fund to another fund that's willing to buy, the notes from us is like really the process on that side. And now it's like, who's out here trying to wholesale get a deal? But we've already been on here for 30 minutes, and this was a test, but I am excited that we got to test this out. Basically, not even say this is a test. Let's say we tested it and executed it to come see how the live stuff strokes and works. So we appreciate everybody for popping in, watching this video. If you're watching the first time, you're watching it the second time, comment down below. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to learn about, just so we can get more engagement of understanding what people are looking for everywhere on the internet, all right? You guys can find our links down below as well.
Next time we jump on here, we have some specific type of deals, right? We'll be able to share those deals with you, walk them through it, how we look at it. I have some that I'll be able to kind of go over next time we jump on in the next day or two. I'm just kind of break it down to you so that you can kind of see, just like that guy, was mentioning, that's just a hard money deal, right? That's what notes are. Some notes are hard money deals. Some notes are private money. Some notes are conventional money, right? There's notes everywhere. All right. So we're going to be able to kind of break that down, even some of these wholesale deals. If you want to go ahead and join the exclusive note exchange so that you can be in the loop for when these deals come across. And there's a lot of different ways to get deals done. Right.
Facts.
Until next time, I appreciate you guys. Dom, I appreciate you.
What's up, money gang?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So we'll see you guys next time. Go down below, call in the bank, go down below his link and information and where you can join us to either get deals or learn more about how to get into the money business with Invest Brilliantly will be down below, and we will see you next time. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Do.